Hey everyone, this is Left Jab and I am back. I am going to start creating videos again. I'm going to get them out weekly, hopefully, with all of your One Piece content. I have a very good Shanks video in the works. Also, I will be starting to put out those weekly chapter videos as well, once again. I was on a little hiatus because I was just dealing with a lot of personal stuff in my life, really good stuff, but it was just so busy, so crazy. Just got married. We had just a ton of stuff happen throughout the weeks. We just moved. There's a ton of stuff going on in my life, so all that is taken care of now, and I am able to get back to it. And I'm going to briefly go through chapters 1003 all the way up to our current chapter that we just got today, 1007. I have opinions on all these different chapters, and I want to talk about all the great and special moments in each chapter and just let you know why I loved it, what I loved about it, and just little details here and there on these chapters that I loved. I won't go over the whole chapter, but just little specific things. So I'm going to start right now with chapter 1003, The Night Reflected on a Go Board. So obviously some of the biggest things that are happening in that chapter are the supernova, the 5 supernova, Luffy, Zoro, Law, Kid, and Killer against Big Mom and Kaido, and they're going in on each other. Obviously the big things to realize in this chapter are when Luffy got taken out, he didn't necessarily get taken out by Kaido, but it was his Devil Fruit ability and going into Gear 4th and how it took a toll on him and how he got taken out of the fight, so Zoro had to come and kind of clean up the mess a little bit and help Luffy escape. And Zoro did some awesome moves like the Dragon Twister and all that, and he was able to really counteract Kaido. And it was kind of cool to see Zoro take the spot to help defend his captain while he was down. Then we cut to CP0, and they're discussing what is going on right now in the war and talking about how the world is going to go through a drastic shift and talking about if Kaido and Big Mom lose, then what the repercussions of that would be. They kind of give you an idea of how many people are out there, saying that the Samurai and Alliance, they started with 5,400 men and already lost 400, but the Beast Pirates have 30,000 and have lost 3,000. So it kind of shows you where they are and what's going on there. And it kind of gives you a little section where they're talking about the executives, and then it shows Frankie versus Sasaki. It shows Sanji and his little trap that he's in. It shows Usopp fighting and all these people going head to head with the executives like Jinbei and Yamato and all of that. And then at the end of chapter 1003, it's kind of crazy because it shows that Kaido is transformed into his hybrid form, and we don't see it. We still haven't seen it. We're at chapter 1007. Sorry for spoilers, but we still haven't seen that. So that's something that we haven't been back on the roof for yet, and I'm excited to get back up there to see his hybrid and see what's going on with that, and seeing if Luffy and the others can hold their own against them. And as we move on to chapter 1004, it's titled Malay Dumplings. It basically starts off with Speed and Tama giving the Beast Pirates the Dongo, and it kind of shows what Tama went through to get there and how they helped her get there. And at the same time, she's feeding all these Beast Pirates the Dongo so that they're able to be on their side and fight. We also get some amazing panels of Frankie and Sasaki fighting, and then Frankie kind of gets overwhelmed by Sasaki's men, and they start attacking him. And then at the last minute, you see Usopp and Nami run in, being chased by a bunch of people that you end up finding out that they tricked the enemy, and the people who they're being chased by actually ate the Dongo and are under Tama's control and on the Alliance's side. So now they're fighting for them and going after the other people, which get all the other Beast Pirates very confused about that. You have a moment where Nami does a Thunderlance tempo at ulti, and we don't really know how that is resulted in. We don't know how hurt she is, but Nami versus ulti is actually a pretty good fight. And then you see Usopp sniping dumplings into people's mouths and kind of winning them over to Tama, telling him who to fight. And then you just see a bunch of panels of Frankie and Sasaki finally fighting once again. It then flashes over to where Sanji is, and he's captured by Black Maria. And Black Maria is talking to him and telling him that he's going to be hers forever, and that she's keeping him, and that she needs to call, and that Sanji needs to call Nico Robin up to them. It then shows that one of the little spies they have sees Kinemon and the rest of the scabbards, and that they're being helped and healed by someone, and King is trying to find someone to go and finish them off while being attacked by Marco, because he's not able to stop Marco, which we'll see in the next coming chapters more clearly. Black Maria mentions that she will be the one to head down there and finish off Kinemon. And then we see a silhouette of someone there with Kinemon. They're pretty small compared to Kinemon, and it looks a lot like Toki. I know there are so many jokes. People think it was Inaru. People just have all these different ideas. I think it's definitely Toki or Hiyori. My vote is more on Toki than Hiyori, but we'll have to see who that ends up to be, because still, even after chapter 1007, we don't know that either. So moving on to chapter 1005 real quick. Chapter 1005 is called Demon Child. Obviously this one's focused around Robin, and it's a really cool chapter for her. But basically, we get Black Maria. She has her web spun. She's telling Sanji she's going to keep him there. She puts on some brass knuckles, beating him up, saying, "You better call Robin so that you can live." And basically saying that he's going to be captured with her forever. And eventually, all these people are saying, wow, it's pretty brave that he's not ratting out his friend. He's not calling her there to her death. That's really brave of him. And then all of a sudden, he calls for her. And everyone's very confused by that, because they thought he was going to be chivalrous. They thought he was going to be brave. They thought he was just going to take the beating for her. But then he ends up telling Robin to come out, which I think is actually, in turn, a good situation. I know a lot of people don't like it. There are some people that don't like it. I like it because Sanji even mentions, do not underestimate Nico Robin. And I think it shows, like, hey, Robin's going to come here and she's going to defend me and fight you. I believe she can beat you. So I don't think it's him bringing her into a bad situation. I think it's bringing her into the situation that she needs. She needs to fight someone. And Black Maria, I think, is the perfect person for Robin to fight. And I think Sanji has enough faith in Robin that she will beat Black Maria. And so that Sanji can go and do what he needs to do in other places. And then it kind of shows like a montage of everyone hearing Sanji call for Nico Robin, and everyone's kind of confused. And Nami's like, oh, he's probably finding a girl. And there are just a bunch of people kind of criticizing him, and then a bunch of people just confused of what he's doing. And it shows Nico Robin come in and slap/spank her. I don't know. It says spank, but it's a slap too. She slaps her with a huge giant arm, slapping Black Maria. And Nico Robin actually mentions that she's been a part of all these evil organizations, and that there's no way that, first off, she would be caught by her, and second off, that she would let anyone do anything bad to her friends, because then the demon part of her starts to emerge, which I thought was a great moment for Robin. And I think Robin is going to have a really awesome fight with Black Maria. I'm really happy with the situation that unfolded there. We also see Brook come in, and I think it's really awesome. He's kind of playing, I guess, utility a little bit, freezing the spider webs that Black Maria created, and those end up shattering and freeing Sanji, which I think is a really cool little piece that Brook did there. But I think Robin's going to mainly take on Black Maria by herself, with Brook taking on the subordinates or doing whatever he can to help Robin win. Also, I think it's really cool because she mentions to Sanji that she really appreciated that he's relying on her for help. And that's a really cool moment, because Robin, her whole life, has been relying on others to kind of get her through different situations and take her to places. Never really had anyone rely on her. And so that's kind of a cool moment to finally be like, hey, thank you for letting me help you. Because I think there's a lot of people out there who, they feel that way. They want to help people, but nobody will let them help. And it's just really cool to see Robin go through that. Then they kind of talk about the little mice Mary things or whatever that go around, and they're able to spy, and they're little mechanical things. I don't really understand what they are. We'll probably find out more. We'll probably find out more with Queen of what they are, because he probably created them, is my guess. But we also see Yamato and Shinobu and Momonosuke, and that's how we find out about it, is because Yamato's explaining it to them, and they're just kind of fighting their way through some enemies. It shows Jack, and he's back up and ready, and he's ready to go after the scabbards and fight them. And then it shows Black Maria about to fight Robin and Brook, and For some reason, she took her shirt off. She exposed the tattoo on her back, and it says woman trouble. And she also mentions that Robin is going to belong to Master Kaido. And Robin says, no thanks, I'd rather be dead, which is a great defiant moment of Robin. And it's just a really good setup for Robin to take on Black Maria. Now that that chapter's over, we're so close to the chapter that we're going to discuss today. I know it's been a little bit of a video. It's kind of long, but we're going to go over this one real quick. First of all, the cover spread was awesome. I don't know if it's like a color spread or whatever it is, but I love the colors of the Tobiropo and Kaido and all his men. I just love that they put that on the cover. It looks great. It looks amazing. I think it looks really good. But anyways, getting into it, it shows Yamato going through and fighting in the beginning, and then it's announced that Master Yamato is with Momonosuke, and that basically Yamato is protecting him, and they're trying to figure out why, but they're announcing that. And so Sanji overhears that and has no idea who Yamato is, and he has no idea what he needs to do, and it kind of shows him deciding, like, where should I go? Should I go to Kinemon downstairs, or should I go upstairs to help Momonosuke? Then it ends with him saying this way, and we have no idea where he goes. My guess, honestly, I have a feeling it might be to Yamato and Momonosuke, because he probably wants to help keep Momonosuke alive, because he knows that he's kind of the future of the country. So we'll see what he ends up doing. But then we end up seeing Onigashima, and it's flying in the air next to this big mountain, which means it's getting closer to the capital. And so something has to happen pretty soon in order for them to save the capital and have Onigashima not crash into a bunch of people and kill everyone. Outside the dome, though, we end up seeing Perospero back, and he's fighting both Carrot and Wanda and actually beats them. He also mentions that he's going to keep them alive, and if they don't want to see any more of their friends die, they should leave. He basically says to Carrot, go nibble at your grass. Then he mentions that he doesn't want to work alongside Kaido's men, but he needs to show these children what the Emperors of the Sea are all about. So we'll see what he ends up doing coming up. We then see all these people turning into these ice onis, and kind of shows Chopper working on the cure. But then we see Hyoguro and Drake fighting side by side, and they look epic and awesome. And actually Hyoguro is full size of what he used to be. I guess apparently this virus kind of brought out his strength and stamina and all that, and it kind of helped him gain his old strength and go back to how he was when he was his strongest, and kind of just tapped what's inside of him and his old reserves of strength and turned him into what he used to be in his prime. We then see him take on all these guys, and it's really cool seeing him beat down a bunch of these swordsmen and stuff, and some swordsmen actually that we thought were going to be really good, he just taking them out like it's nothing. He also mentions that he wishes he were to fight with Odin alongside him during his prime and see what would have happened, but he's really happy to see everything that's happened so far in this country, and talks about Luffy and how he likes his fascinating protege. He also mentions that he has no doubt that the dawn will come to Wano. Next is one of the best parts of some of these chapters, where Queen is about to take out Hyoguro with a laser, but then we have Marco come in and just start attacking Queen and taking both him and King on at once. Marco looks amazing. He's fighting them both and holding them both off at the same time, and he looks super good. He has all these great moves. He has this move called Bluebird, and he's just taking out King, knocks him into the building, and just hitting Queen, and he looks so good taking on both of them. I think Marco is way stronger than anyone thought he was. I've always thought Marco was pretty strong, because you see how he kind of fought utility back at the war, kind of all over the place, fighting different admirals, and I don't think there's a lot of people who could handle that many people like during that war, and kind of survive through it all like he did. He had some great feats there, and I think people downplay it because he wasn't actually able to beat any of them, but I think Marco is a lot stronger than we think. And then at the end, when Marco is fighting both King and Queen and kind of taking them out, we do see Perospero, and he mentions, why? Who should I spot over there but Marco? He looks rather exhausted to me. Which kind of tells us that, oh, Perospero is about to come in and really mess Marco up while he's already fighting two commanders, a first commander and a second commander. I guess that's what we can label them. But King and Queen are being held back by Marco, and now Parasparow's going to come in and probably try to take him out, but I guess we'll see if there's a good matchup for Parasparrow, if someone else will come out of their way and, you know, fight him and help keep Marco alive. And then at the very end of the chapter, it shows Hirogoro's men, and Hirogoro tells him if he turns into an Ice Oni, then everyone else is pretty much screwed. They're all going to die. They're all going to turn into Ice Oni. They need to take him out immediately. And so the chapter ends with him sitting there and his men about to cut him down with their swords. It has an image of him in his Ice Oni kind of form, and he says, "I leave the rest in your hands. Here ends the life of Hirogoro, the flower, with no regrets." And then we get the chapter we got this week. So, last but not least, here is chapter 1007, Tanuki-san. Now, this chapter was incredible. I couldn't stop thinking about it today. I've had so many thoughts about what exactly happened in this chapter, so I'll explain each part. I'm going to go quickly through some of the other parts. So it kind of opens up with seeing all the Oniwabanchu, which are the samurai police people, shows them all taken out by Hirogoro, and it kind of has them all mention how strong he is. But then it kind of shows him almost being taken out by his people. The swords are coming down, and he's about to die. But then it shows a bunch of Queen subordinates kind of complaining, saying, "Why do we have to get the virus? What did we do to deserve this?" And Queen just kind of goes off of them and tells them to shut their mouths and that they're all wimps and they should know their place. And he kind of mentions that that virus was kind of created for them. He says that the pleasures were given an opportunity to gain useful abilities, and they lost that gamble. Then he says, "Now you're only good for a laugh," which is pretty messed up because that's all they can do. The only thing they can do is they can laugh. Then he said the waiters. He says, "No matter how long you wait, there aren't any more smiles coming. You've lost your chance at gaining abilities." They're pretty much just turning them against him right before his eyes. And that actually is what happens later on. They kind of defend Chopper and they defend the other side because they realize how heartless he is. And he kind of did that himself. Queen kind of goes on this tirade, pretty much just saying that being a pirate, there's going to be treachery, and that's probably what Chopper's doing right now. He's not really giving them a cure. He's just going to cure himself or whatever. And everyone's kind of defending him, saying, "Oh, he would never do that." And then it kind of flashes to Hirogoro, and right when they're about to slice down on him, Chopper comes up and stops them and tells everyone that he made it in time and he has a cure for the virus. And then we see Chopper though too, and he's completely cured. He looks back to normal. He did cure himself and he cured the virus. And then they take out a cannon and shoot the cannon, and it's a big gas explosion. And basically what Chopper did was, since he didn't want to inject everyone individually and that it would take a while, he did this big gas kind of cure where everyone inhales it and then they'll be back to normal, which I thought was kind of cool, very smart, quick thinking, rather than possibly having people turn into Ice Onis and losing them. Chopper does have some back and forth with Queen. Queen talks about how it's not his right to butt in and how does he have that medical expertise and all that. And Chopper kind of mentions that viruses shouldn't be weaponized and that you can't always control them. And Chopper also mentions that him and the crew spent a couple years apart to hone their skills, and that's how he learned all the medical stuff. But what is really awesome and what I love is Queen's about to attack Chopper, and right when he's about to attack Chopper, you first of all have all of Queen's men come and say, "Watch out, Tanuki," where they're calling Chopper Tanuki, and they're telling him to watch out because they saved him, and they all want to go against Queen now because Chopper saved them, and Queen is obviously evil, and he didn't care if they lived or die. But then, out of nowhere, we have Marco coming, attacking Queen, grabbing his neck and holding him down. We have Marco saying, "Way to go, Tanuki, now give him your best shot." And then we have Chopper saying, "Thanks, Marco, but let's get one thing straight." Chopper pops in a rumble ball, goes to Monster Point, and says, "I'm not a Tanuki," and smacks Queen, and we actually see some blood from that attack, which is pretty awesome. Everyone else is saying we're sorry, and it has them all with these faces with their hands over their mouth, not wanting to offend Chopper by calling him a Tanuki because they don't want to be attacked by Chopper because he looks terrifying to them. We then cut to Yamato and Momonosuke and Shinobu real quick. Momonosuke is still inside Yamato's shirt. He's kind of mentioning how he's disgusted with himself, and they're saying, no, you're brave, you're awesome. And Shinobu's kind of mentioning, no, you're a splendid young man and all that. And Momonosuke's kind of just saying he hates being like a spoiled brat that he is or whatever. And then he ends up turning into his dragon form, which I think is a really interesting transition. It's funny because Yamato even mentions an eel. She thinks he's an eel instead of a dragon. But what's really interesting about that is it goes from that to the CP0 talking about Kaido's devil fruit. And they say when Kaido was being held captive by the Navy, Vegapunk used his lineage factor to try and synthesize an artificial devil fruit. So I think that's really interesting because they end up going on to say, good thing it was a failure. But what they don't know is it was not a failure, that Momonosuke has that ability and he is a dragon. He is the same kind of dragon that Kaido is, and that was obviously brought on by Vegapunk. So I think that's really interesting that it kind of tells you how Momonosuke got it or how it was created and all that, and that pretty much Momonosuke has the same devil fruit as Kaido, or it at least derives from Kaido's devil fruit. Now the craziest part of the chapter is we go downstairs, we see Kinemon and all the scabbards get up, and they mention how they remember seeing a familiar face from a dream. It felt like a dream. There's no way that it was possible. And then we see Kinemon talking about Luffy and that he stepped in to fight Kaido for them. And then all of a sudden we see someone burst in silhouette saying, "You guys look like you've taken a beating." And then it is revealed that it is Odin, Kozuki Odin, saying, "I was hoping our paths would cross again. You've all aged quite a bit." And then everyone's so confused, has a big shock on their face, and they said, "Odin-sama?" They can't believe their eyes. And then obviously we're on break next week. But a lot of people don't think it's actually Odin. A lot of people think it is some kind of devil fruit where they transformed into Odin or some kind of weird thing like that. Honestly, I'm on the team where I probably am one of the few people who think it is Odin. I still think that this could possibly be Odin, and I'll tell you how and why. This is my theory, and this is how I'll end the video. I know it was a long one, it was long-winded. I'll come out with more videos next week. I have a really cool Shanks video coming out, but I just want to tell you my theory on Odin. So I really think that it could be possible that sometime in the past, Toki moved Odin into the future. Somehow she realized how she would be able to take him into the future and then bring him back. I really think she figured out her time fruit and how to go back to the past, because I know it's mentioned that you couldn't do that, but maybe she can send someone to the past. Maybe she can't personally go to the past, but maybe she can send him back. So my theory is that he was sent to the future. He is now in the future where we are, fights Kaido and defeats him alongside Luffy and everyone else, and then is sent back to his fate of dying by Kaido's hand. Now there are some questions within that I know are kind of confusing, because depending on when he's sent back, he'll have to know certain things. So I think there's going to be a point where if he's being sent back, everyone's going to be like, "But you know what you're going back to?" And he's not going to mention it. He's going to say, "Don't tell me, I don't want to know." But he's going to be sent back to his death. But I really think part of it too is that he has to go and live that out back in the past, or else the future wouldn't happen. But I also think that he's going to try to go back to the past to defeat Kaido, you know, during the time when he tries to fight Kaido, gets imprisoned, and then when he's boiled in oil and holding them over his head. I think that all happens after. But my big thing on that, and why he would try to defeat Kaido after he already knows in the future that they defeat Kaido, is maybe some of his friends, like maybe Kinemon or Denjiro or some of the 9 red scabbards, die, and he wants to go back to see if he can beat Kaido. And if he can beat Kaido in the past, then he doesn't have to worry about them dying in the future. But I don't know, that's just my theory for right now, that actually is Odin and he's sent in the future and then will be sent back. But I guess we'll just have to wait and see what happens. That is the video. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe. And as always, be kind to others. See ya.